Hi y'all. I always look so crazy when I do these videos, but I do them so impromptu. So here I am in my robe after the gym. I had a little story time. I have this woman empowerment group. We have been communicating with each other for over a year now, and really it's just everybody checks in, says hello. Sometimes we share exercises. Sometimes people need words of encouragement. It's so beautiful. And this morning, one of the women who are in the group was saying how she has let up on her ambition to grow her business for various reasons. And I was like, man, I feel the same because, yeah, I'm not on social media. I'm not advertising on social media. I use these newsletters really. And I'm sure it's probably annoying that I send out so many. I don't know. But anyways, I wanted to share a little story about the pivotal changes in my business, in the work that I do, not just in my business, because the work that I do is not just my business. I do this anyways. I mean, I did it before I even had a business. I just did this work. I did it donation-based healing, inner work. So I have been feeling kind of down about growing my business and the work that I do, because in a world that is so caught up on prosperity, and don't get me wrong, I fucking love money and all the material things, right? But I feel unfulfilled when I do that work. I feel unfulfilled when I am helping somebody make more money and really they're miserable, you know? So I have a story time. So it's why my business pivoted again a couple years ago. When in 2020, 2021, I pivoted my business. I was still doing inner healing work, lots of inner healing work, lots of root work, lots of internal alignment work. And also I started to business coach for spiritual businesses. Oh my gosh, I need lotion. I started to business coach for spiritual businesses because I grew my business really rapidly. I knew what it took, mindset, energy, all those things to grow a spiritual business. Plus, spiritual businesses are overlooked in this world. Maybe not today now as much, but when I first started my business, and I know a lot of practitioners and elders say the same thing, that our work is overlooked until there's an emergency or something, right? And I have to get lotion or this is gonna drive me fucking nuts. So one of the things, something happened, okay? We're in my closet. Let me put some lotion on. Welcome to my closet. It's pretty organized in here for the most part. One of the things that happened was I started making more and more money, and I was allowing, again, now remember, I love money, okay? I'm not like one of those people who are like, fuck money. No. I love fucking money, okay? So I was making more money, and now I'm seeing it, okay? Because I'm on the other side of this, or so I believe. I was making more money, and I was allowing the income to get to my head, so to speak. And while I still was doing my work, because I love my work and what I do, I was letting the material be more of what it needed to be in my life. So in the end of 2021, around like October, I started having trauma responses more than normal, okay? And let me back up for a second. There were things that were happening in my life, even when my business was growing and I was making the most money I've ever made in my life. There were things that were not okay that were happening in my life. And the way that I was reacting and responding to certain things, but I wasn't aware of it. I denied a lot of things. I ran from a lot of things. I have a disorganized attachment style, so try to cause me pain. No, you see? Okay, so here comes October 2021. And I start having major complex PTSD symptoms that probably were just years and years built up of my trauma that I wasn't tending to. And it was taking a toll on me. It was actually disrupting my life. It was disrupting my relationship. It was disrupting my parenting. It was disrupting a lot of things. But I wanted to just keep growing my business because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to tend to those things all of the time. And mind you, I've been on this healing journey of self-discovery and all of these things since I was 20 years old, let's just say. But this is why I say that my healing really didn't start until a couple years ago. So in the middle of all of that, in the middle of having these immense panic attacks and just noticing, oh my gosh, I have been operating a lot from the traumatic version of myself and not even being aware of it. Now, I'm ADHD, so I'm not even neurotypical. I'm not normal. I'm already different in that way. But there were some other things that were just like, wait a second, like this is not okay. In the middle of that, I received a message from Spirit that I could not deny about no longer offering business coaching, which was a huge part of my business at that time. And so I let it go. I started to dismantle that part of my business. And I did it in a way which I probably could have done it in a more smooth and stable way. But again, I was operating from some traumatic patterns that I couldn't see things. I couldn't see clearly. And so here we are. My PTSD is extremely triggered, complex. Spirit tells me to tear this down. It's not for you. And then my grandpa gets sick. And I have this vision that my grandpa's gonna die. So I spent all of those months really, really tearing things down. I spent the last 2 years really dismantling a lot of things. And it's the reason why I'm here talking about this, because I was telling one of the women in the empowerment group that it feels hard right now, which is something that I wouldn't normally have said, right? It feels hard to sell deeper healing because right now everybody wants to just do better. Everybody wants things to be instant. They want prosperity now. They want the fulfilled life now. I know, I did it. And even when I was making all the money and doing all the things that I was making, thinking this is what's going to create my happiness, I wasn't happy inside the way that I feel now. Yes, I have my days, but I feel more fulfilled in my life now. I feel less worried. I feel more mentally stable. Just things I was not noticing. Mind you, most of the people that I surrounded myself with also were probably and most likely operating from traumatic patterns. And so to us, it was normal. Then I started noticing that there were certain things that were just not normal or healthy that I needed to change within inside myself and around myself so that I could really, really make a difference in my life and live this fulfilling life. So I spent these last 2 years really dismantling the work that I was doing to really focus on this deeper inner work, trauma-focused care, deeper internal shadow work. And it doesn't sound exciting for people to do. It doesn't. Nobody wants to do that shit because it's hard. It takes a lot of effort. You have to look in the mirror. But it's the work that is fulfilling to me. Every time I think about telling people like, oh, this will make you more prosperous, I want to be like, oh, it's so annoying to me to just hear, let's live a more, like, okay, everybody's doing the same thing. It's part of the matrix. It's part of the machine to work and operate that way. But from experience, it doesn't matter how much fucking money you make. It doesn't matter what material things you have. It doesn't matter what sugar daddy is buying you what. the internal things do not shift until you shift them. No Orisha, no magic, no deity, no Jesus, no fucking God does that for you. They don't do it for you. You can light candles for the rest of your life, but the inner work requires you to do the work, which is why most people don't want to do it. Which is why most people rely on external happiness. I was doing that. I was relying on what was in my environment to create my happiness. Until I realized, wait a second. I am repeating the same thing over and over and over and over. What is actually going on here? Why do I keep repeating this same fucking thing over and over and over? And Spirit was like, because you're bypassing the deepest inner work. Now, fortunately and unfortunately at the same time, I had certain aspects going on in my own inner chart that was pushing me to do this deeper inner work. And it's why Spirit, why I do, one thing about being a 3-line in human design, a 3-5. First of all, I want to fix things because it's just who I am. I'm a 5-line. I want to fix all the fucking shit. I want to fix everybody's problems. I'm good at fixing problems, okay? And but one thing about a 3-line is we learn through experience. We know what works because we lived it. And so sometimes I feel like a broken record. And I'm not on social media. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to just for business purposes. Because I feel like a broken record in saying that nothing outside of you is going to create your happiness. It doesn't matter how much money you make, who you're with, all of these things. If internally is a chaotic mess, let's just put it that way. It's not really a mess, right? Because you're not a mess. But if internally you're not doing what is going on internally, externally does not matter. It will eventually dismantle itself. We see that in our world. We see that because our world is so focused on material gain, United States, that the inner work, the civilians, the system is not working. And so it is internally dismantling itself. Now, another thing that I've learned over the last couple of years in my own work and in my studies, because I have taken it upon myself to dedicate myself to studying trauma, growth, spirituality, development, inner healing, that if you don't choose to do the work on your own, your inner world begin to dismantle you by itself. It's why we have so much sickness, illness, disease, all of these things. Now, some people come here to live through that karma, but not as many people that are living it right now. There is a major link between unhealed or unprocessed emotions and cancers and autoimmune diseases and further extended mental health dissociation. There's a huge link. And now science is finally starting to recognize what we already knew in the spiritual world. That if you don't take care of what's inside, it does not matter how much you exercise. It doesn't matter if you're eating good fucking foods. It doesn't matter all of those things. If we're not working in our inner world, none of it really matters. And so it's like trying to sell a coffin to a person who is still 50 years from transitioning. It's just not what's exciting for people, is to do this inner work. It's not. Even though eventually things will begin to dismantle. So I've noticed a lot of people who are unsubscribing from my newsletter, which whatever, right? But also because I talk about the really deep, darker things. And I'm not here to sell you a fucking dream. This is not the quick fix, get rich in a night. It's do the inner work so that you really actually feel fulfilled in your life and that you're not continuously chasing external whatever. Now, yes, I love money. I like to grow things. I like material stuff too. But there is a fine balance between the ambition to chase the external and doing the work inside. So if you're wondering why my work has pivoted so much, that is why. Because I've experienced and lived both spectrums. I've lived growing a $500,000 business in 2 fucking years and still feeling somewhat sad and unfulfilled inside because the money wasn't what was going to create my fulfillment. It was the inner alignment. I know I talked about this in my last video, but I'm going to be relaunching my coaching in January. It is somatic, psycho-spiritual somatic coaching. That means we are doing the inner work. We are going internally. We are healing from the inside out, and not just here, in here, somatic, the energy that is being stored, the nervous system, the body, that. And again, from being a 3-line in human design, and I have this gate, I always forget what it is, maybe gate 28. I don't know what it is, but it's the gate defined in my blueprint, in my life blueprint, that says, and I really know it to be true, that my energy and the person who I am, I'm here to tell people what works and what doesn't. And bypassing doesn't work. It doesn't. Doing the inner work, it works. My relationships have changed. My friendships have changed. Now I have down days. I have good days and bad days. I have ADHD and complex PTSD. So it's a fucking roller coaster sometimes, right? But the fulfillment I feel is not based on what's going on in my physical life. It's literally, it's not like what I have and what I don't. It's fulfillment. It's joy, like real joy. Even on the gloomiest days. But that's built from within. So thank you for joining my TED Talk. Cheers. A little bit of tea time. What's in my cup today? Mullein, yarrow, and cacao shells. For circulation, my lungs, and my skin. Cheers.